Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed, baby. Now listen, count down to Terrence Crawford and who? Canelo Alvarez, right? We only got a few days. It's a countdown. It's really going down. So, the opinions are going, out there, right? The general consensus is, hey, it's a little bit maybe favoring Canelo because of his size. So Canelo is basically the bigger fighter, right? Terrence Crawford is the more skilled fighter, but he's going to put on too much weight. He's not going to be able to deal with no Canelo at that weight. You know what I'm saying? So that's just not going to happen. Right? So this is what we're going in. And some are saying, hey, a lot are saying, man, Terrence Crawford, he's just going to outbox this guy, right? And he's going to put him on him enough, to where, they don't look like no running. And Terrence Crawford going to stay in there. Then you got the ones, man, can he take a punch from Canelo? You know what I'm saying? So it's going back and forth, which is good. But I'm always going to remind you, we're here because of the fights Canelo wasn't going to take from the people in his weight class. He wasn't going to fight David Benavidez or David Morrell in his weight class. That's the deal. Canelo has, been through his whole career, and I can't remember Canelo wanting to fight somebody hard. What Canelo said, I want to fight him. Like he said, I want to fight Yildirim, or I want to fight Makabu, right? I want to fight, right? He's never, when he could have been undisputed at middleweight, he didn't want to fight. Demetrius Andrade. He didn't want to fight Golovkin. Those are fights that, people, he didn't want to fight Lara. Lara just forced it. So I can't remember Canelo, man, I want to get this hard dude, right? Because I think Canelo should have wanted to fight David Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? He should have wanted to fight David Morrell because they're awesome and they're in his weight divisions. And in Crawford, on the other hand, there's never been nobody in or around his division that he's not wanting to fight. It's a lot of people and the media. This is why I'm not really too fond of the media, because they know more. They know more than you do. They know more than I do, and they just don't tell you. They act like, oh, well, since we can just say that his Terrence Crawford's resume wasn't good. They'll act like Victor Postal wasn't a huge problem. This guy was undefeated, just beat Lucas Matisse. Terrence Crawford wasn't necessarily the favorite going into there. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard thing. They'll put Julius Ndungo down, right? Not telling you guys that Troyanowski, that Russian guy, he was undefeated when Ndungo went over there to beat him. Before Ndungo went over there to beat him, they were already saying Terrence Crawford don't want to fight him. They're not going to remind you of that. Terrence Crawford wanted to do, man, this was Troyanowski guy. Oh, he got knocked out by Ndungo. Oh, Ndungo ain't that good after Crawford beats him. Felix Diaz. Now that happened but one questionable loss against Peterson. Great fighters. Shoot, Jerry Deane and Thomas DeLorme were good fighters. But there's a lot of stuff going up there. Ain't supposed to fight no Sean Porter, no Errol Spence. Ain't supposed to beat Kell Brook like that. Not like that. You know what I mean? None of these challenges are nothing. Right? You know what I'm saying? But here's what I'm saying. There's nobody that he wasn't trying to fight. Oh, y'all talking about Manny Pacquiao is one of the best ever? Okay, we can fight. Right? But Manny Pacquiao don't want to. Didn't y'all say Lomachenko's so great? Lomachenko says, hey, and this is only when Terrence Crawford, when he was only 2 divisions higher. You know what Lomachenko called Terrence Crawford? Suicide. I ain't messing with that. That's suicide, me trying to fight Terrence Crawford. Where was Lomachenko at? I think it was at 130, and Crawford was at 140. It was suicide, 10 pounds apart. Suicide to go fight Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? This is what people that are boxing are saying. Crawford was like, we can do this at a catch weight. No, I ain't. Suicide, right? Those are the things that are going on. But Crawford was trying to fight him. Crawford was trying to fight Manny Pacquiao. Everybody's scared, right? Chased Errol Spence. Errol Spence went from the boogeyman to the big fish, because you ain't the boogeyman if you're getting chased, right? All this Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis stuff. No, both of them was about to get fought and didn't want to fight him. Nothing like that. So there's nobody in or around his division where we could say, like we could say Canelo. Canelo didn't want no parts of Demetrius Andrade, very little parts of Jamal Charlo. Definitely ain't fighting no Benavidez and Morrell. There's no names like that around Crawford. Nada. There's nothing like that around him. Everybody's scattered. You know what I'm saying? Got the hell out of here in lightweight division when he left. He beat up everybody, round them up, and beat everybody in the 140-pound division, and had people on the other side of the damn fence talking smack behind the fence in the 147-pound division, because what he was doing in the front of that fence was beating everybody else who thought about leaving that fence. And when everybody that was behind that fence that didn't want to fight him, all of them wanted to fight Pacquiao, though, who was on the other side of the fence, which showed you what time it really was, right? And then when some of them finally came out of the fence, everybody got beat up. And the other ones stayed behind the fence because the baddest ones, Sean Porter and Errol Spence, came out the fence finally and got beat up, knocked out. You see what I'm saying? That's what he's left behind him. The trail behind him is beat up dudes. Everybody. There's nobody behind there. Man, you forgot to fight me. No, it ain't. Everybody's like, well, I ain't saying nothing about him not fighting me because he might mess around and come back. That's the difference. You understand? That's the difference. Now, being a fan of people, man, you could be a fan. Mexicans are going to be a fan of Canelo. They know he ain't the best because Mexicans never ask him to fight the hard fights. You notice that? Like, you ain't got to. Don't worry about it. We just call you great without fighting. It's like the Mexican national team in football, soccer. You know what I'm saying? They know they ain't the best, but they at least let them play because they got to. But if they were able to call the Mexican national soccer team the best without them playing, they probably would. But they got to play. They got to go over there and play Spain. They ain't beating them. You know what I'm saying? They ain't beating Germany. They ain't, and it's a lot. They ain't beating Brazil. It's some teams up there they ain't gonna beat. But they still gonna follow them. Now, if you were able, like in boxing, to say, well, we rolling with him without him fighting people, then they're gonna do it. We roll. You like somebody, you roll with them and you down with them. You maybe, I like Godzilla, damn it. You know what I'm saying? I roll with Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? I don't like when Godzilla lose something. I'm mad for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Come on, Godzilla, you gotta get your get back. You know what I'm saying? You roll with him for real. I'm just joking. Godzilla or Hulk pissed me off when Hulk got beat up by Thanos. I was mad a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? You roll with people. That don't mean Hulk go back and get him. I'm still waiting for Hulk to get back on Thanos. You know what I'm saying? So you can roll with somebody. I mean, that's a damn ridiculous analogy. But my point is, at the end of the day, they're going to roll with somebody. But here's the difference between rolling with somebody and believing in somebody. If you believe in somebody, you want them to fight the hardest fights. The people that roll or with Terence Crawford also believe in Terence Crawford, irregardless of what he does with this big old juggernaut in Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford has proven up until now, all the things he's done and all those wonderful fighters he beat, he's already proven what time it is. He wants the Canelo fight. Canelo ain't, didn't call him out. He wants the Canelo fight because at the end of the day, we all know what time it was. While he was beating Errol Spence, he was saying, let me fight the hardest guy at the time at 154 pounds. And that was Jamal Charlo. Jamal was the one who was a little reluctant and said, let me go up here and try to fight Canelo. So, whatever. And then everything got fragmented. But Crawford was trying to become 3-division undisputed by fighting Jamal Charlo. That's what really happened. Right? And since that didn't happen, it was like, well, okay, well, damn, I got to go up here and do this Canelo stuff. Let's not forget how it happened. Crawford was trying to become 3-division undisputed at 154 pounds. Now the belts are all over the way. And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to say it again. If they can get it together, the Murtazeliovs and the Funduras of the world can get it together with 1 or 2 fights and everybody got the damn belts, Crawford would want him. No one would have to ask Crawford to do nothing. He would already be on his way down there to fight that guy. 1 or 2 fights to become undisputed at 154. He would try that too. That's the belief you having that guy because that's how he rolls. So let's see what's happening. Canelo is bigger than Terrence Crawford, and he should beat him. And like I'm going to say before, again, I'm going to say it again, Canelo better dominate Terrence Crawford, right? Because he's bigger than Terrence Crawford. And here's another thing Canelo will tell you himself. He says, I'm not as good as May as I am with September. Because in September, I'm really, well-oiled machine in September's. So Canelo is bigger, and he's in fighting in September. That means Terrence Crawford should have some serious issues with this one. If not, we're probably going to see some history. So let's see what happened, y'all. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.